David was a 23-year-old college student, scraping by on part-time jobs and surviving on instant noodles and campus cafeteria meals. He had no family to fall back on, no inheritance, and no wealthy relatives. His life was defined by struggle. Every semester was a race against eviction, bills, and tuition fees. Yet despite everything, he was ambitious, determined to build a future. He had dreams of owning a company, traveling the world, and living a life far removed from the one he knew. But dreams felt like luxuries he couldn't afford. It was during his side gig as a library assistant that he met Evelyn. She was 71, wealthy, and eccentric. Her silver hair flowed freely, and her fashion was a mixture of vintage and high-end. She would visit the university library not for books, but to sit, observe, and occasionally engage students in long conversations. David always greeted her politely, though he initially saw her as another quirky senior trying to relive youth among students. But Evelyn took an interest in him. She often asked him about his studies, his life, his struggles. Their conversations grew frequent and deep. Despite the decades between them, David found comfort in her presence. She was sharp-witted, incredibly intelligent, and had a mysterious air about her that pulled people in. After several weeks of interactions, she invited him to lunch. That lunch became dinner, then another. Within a month, Evelyn had become a constant presence in his life. Then came the proposal, simple, direct, and completely shocking. "Marry me," she said over a quiet dinner in her art-filled mansion. "In return, you'll never have to worry about money again." David laughed at first, thinking it a joke. But she was serious. She offered a prenup that guaranteed him a small fortune even if the marriage dissolved in weeks. It sounded ridiculous. People would talk, judge, whisper behind their backs. But David had reached a point where poverty no longer gave him room for pride. So, he agreed. They had a quiet, private ceremony. No paparazzi, no press. It was just them, a judge, and two witnesses. David felt surreal, like he was walking through someone else's life. That night, they shared champagne in her massive estate. Evelyn didn't expect affection or intimacy, she only asked for company, conversation, and trust. In return, she spoiled him with gifts, cleared his debts, and enrolled him in elite business courses. Everything seemed too good to be true. 7 days after the wedding, David woke early, trying to process his new life. He was now the husband of a millionaire who was almost half a century older. He wandered through the mansion's halls, still unfamiliar with most rooms. Curiosity led him into a study Evelyn never let him enter. The door was slightly ajar, almost as if inviting him in. Inside, the room smelled of cedar and old paper. Shelves were lined with ancient books, strange artifacts, and locked drawers. One drawer was open. Inside lay an envelope with his name written on it. With trembling fingers, he opened it. Inside was a letter. "David, if you're reading this, I've either passed on or allowed you into this room for a reason. You must now know the truth about me. I wasn't entirely honest with you, not about who I am, or why I chose you. I am not simply a woman who aged into wealth. My fortune is old, passed down through bloodlines involved in things most wouldn't believe. I've outlived 3 husbands, all younger than you. All died under mysterious circumstances. Not because I killed them, but because of what I carry. I am cursed. Every man I've married has died within 30 days of our union. It is a blood curse placed upon my family generations ago. I thought I could break it. I have spent decades trying. When I met you, something told me you were different. Not just poor, but pure in heart, unafraid of truth and open to mystery. Perhaps you are the key to lifting this curse. If I'm gone when you read this, do not seek revenge or answers in rage. Instead, go to the basement, behind the 3rd bookshelf. There you will find a hidden door. Inside is everything, my journals, artifacts, and a ritual that may undo the legacy that has haunted my bloodline. If I am still alive, then we must talk tonight. Everything depends on what you do next. David stood frozen, the letter shaking in his hands. Was this a joke, a test, a novel she never published? He wanted to believe it was nonsense. But curiosity burned stronger than denial. He rushed to the basement, counted the bookshelves, and found the 3rd. He tugged on it, and it moved, revealing a hidden doorway. Behind it, a narrow passage led to a chamber filled with ancient symbols, candle stubs, and walls covered in foreign writing. Books bound in worn leather sat on wooden stands. A pedestal in the middle held a mirror that wasn't a mirror, It showed not his reflection but strange flashes of people he didn't know, faces that shifted and morphed. His heart pounded. Everything was real. Evelyn had told the truth. She found him hours later, staring at one of her journals, pale and speechless. She didn't look surprised. She only said, "Now you understand." They spent the next days trying to decipher the ritual. It wasn't just magic, it was deeply rooted in ancestral regret, an ancient betrayal that led to a line of women cursed to lose any man who truly loved them. The curse fed on attachment, on genuine connection. That was why David had survived so far. He hadn't fallen for her, yet. But he was starting to. Despite the oddity of their marriage, Evelyn had become more than a lifeline. She was his friend, his guide, and maybe something more. With every passing day, the weight of that realization grew heavier. They decided to perform the ritual. It required sacrifice, not of blood, but of memory. David would have to forget Evelyn completely. Their conversations, their laughter, everything. It was the only way to break the bond the curse could cling to. Evelyn sobbed silently the night before. "You won't know me, but I will remember everything. Every word, every touch." David stood at the altar the next evening, the ritual prepared. Candles flickered, ancient chants echoed, and the final words were spoken. He collapsed. When he woke up, he was in a hospital room. No memory of who brought him. No recollection of how he got there. Just a letter on the table, unsigned. He went on to live a successful life, driven by an ambition he couldn't quite explain. He built his company, traveled, achieved everything he once dreamed of.